Techies, welcome back. Today, we're going to be talking about why you should be thinking about your mystery novel, not as a whodunit, but as a whydunit. I'm Jane, and this is Fiction Technician. You're probably familiar with the term whodunit, which refers to the mystery genre, and in particular to these kind of traditional Agatha Christie-style mysteries where we have a secluded setting and a restricted suspect pool. 6 or 7 characters, each of whom might have had a compelling reason to bump off the victim. In the final scene, the detective will tell us exactly who done it and how he knows. Alright, what then is a whydunit? Well, it's highly similar. There will be a restricted suspect pool, and in the final scene we will still learn who the villain is. But the main surprise will come not from just fingering one or the other of them. It will come from finally uncovering their true motive. Many wonderful classic detective stories are whydunits, and whydunit is the first question I ask myself when I begin writing a new mystery novel. Why ask whydunit? Well, I've got 4 reasons, and we're going to count them down. The first is that whydunit provides you the best opportunity to really surprise your reader. We love surprises at the end of mysteries. We love seeing how all of these disparate puzzle pieces come together finally into one compelling picture. It's very hard to get that feeling from a mere whodunit because whoever your guilty party is, well, they've probably been on the reader's radar for a while. It's really hard to get the reader to completely disregard a viable suspect. It is much easier to conceal their motive. You can give us false details about the character, distract us with a potential false motive, and any number of tactics that will let this come as a huge reveal at the end. Let's see if I can make this point by comparing the endings of 2 mysteries. Actually, the 2 endings of 1 mystery, which is Clue. If you haven't seen it, Clue is this sort of delightfully campy movie based on the Parker Brothers board game Clue. 6 strangers are invited to a remote mansion on a dark and stormy night and given silly pseudonyms to use for the evening, like Mrs. White and Mr. Green. They're greeted by the butler Wadsworth and told that they each have something in common. They are all being blackmailed by the same person, the 7th guest, Mr. Body. They're each given a deadly weapon, and when the lights go out, Mr. Body dies. We naturally assume that one of the blackmail victims has decided to end his life of crime forever. The rest of the movie involves the characters pairing up, investigating the crime, and somehow separating so frequently that the killer is able to bump off 5 other people. But the strange thing about Clue is that it doesn't have one ending. It actually has 3. We are going to deal with the first and the last. In the first, we learn that Miss Scarlet killed Mr. Body and his network of blackmail informants in order to end the blackmail. But if you've ever seen this movie, I will bet you anything that this is the ending that you choose to believe.
I shot her.
You?
You thought Mr. Body was dead, but why? None of you even met him till tonight.
You're Mr. Body.
I'm grateful to you all for disposing of my network of spies and informers. Saved me a lot of trouble. Now there's no evidence against me.
We prefer to believe this ending because it's the best one, and that's because it's the only one with twists. Alright, let's talk really quickly about what a twist is and what it isn't. A twist is not a reveal. A reveal is simply when we learn new information. And Miss Scarlet's ending has one. We learn that instead of being merely a brothel owner, Miss Scarlet is also a purveyor of government secrets. A twist is when we learn new information that stands in sharp contrast to something we already believe, like that Wadsworth was basically the most likable guy in the movie. The reveal about Miss Scarlet doesn't really stand in sharp contrast to anything. It only moves her from bad to even worse. But the twist about Wadsworth turns the character completely on his head. And this is my second reason why you should start thinking about whodunit in the very first stages of plotting, because it gives you the chance to turn a character completely around, not simply from suspect to killer, but from innocent to guilty as sin. The third reason that whodunit is an ideal question to ask yourself is that sometimes it can be hard to write the book the way you want to while concealing your villain. Maybe you have an idea for a great over-the-top villain who is going to have excellent conflict with the hero, generates some really memorable scenes, and at the end, he will turn out to be the mastermind behind the whole plot. Well, it's going to be hard to make that feel really surprising, and that's exactly the problem they had with the movie Who Framed Roger Rabbit. In this movie, there was never a realistic possibility that the big bad at the end of the movie was going to be anyone other than Judge Doom. For one thing, there aren't a lot of spare characters in this movie who could have been the villain, and for another, just look at him. He's evil. They could have done a better job of hiding Judge Doom in plain sight if they had toned him down a lot, but it's hard to imagine that the movie would have been better for this change. Most of the really memorable, exciting scenes were all about Judge Doom. Keeping his why a secret until the very end allows us to have this great over-the-top villain and still skewer the reader with a surprise right at the end. I've got one more reason why you should think about Whodunit in the opening stages of plotting, but first I want to thank you for watching and ask you to please hit the like button if you feel that this video is giving you value. The last reason that Whodunit should be at the core of your plotting process is that it gives you a chance to unite the solution of your mystery with the resolution of a compelling emotional storyline. Mysteries are sort of unique in that, in many ways, they're not about the protagonist. He might have a character arc, but he doesn't really need one. If you think about some of the great literary detectives in fiction, well, Ms. Marple is always Miss Marple, and Sherlock Holmes is always Sherlock Holmes. These stories, in a big way, are about the characters around them, the suspects, the secrets they keep, the sins they commit, and what drove one of them to murder. In Gosford Park, a wealthy English family congregates at the estate of Sir William McCordle. Sir William winds up stabbed, but when the police investigate, we learn that the stab wound wasn't the cause of death. Sir William had already been murdered. We learn that the person who stabbed him was his estranged son, who was dumped by Sir William in an orphanage as a baby and has hated his father ever since. But the final secret is unwrapped when we learn that the person who killed him is Mrs. Wilson, the housekeeper. She was made pregnant by Sir William against her will long ago and gave the baby to him, believing he would place it with a good family. When she realizes that her son has come to the estate, she suspects that he wants revenge against his father, and so she gets there first in order to protect him. As long as his only crime is stabbing a corpse, not much can be done to him. This turns the solution to the crime into not only a great surprise, but a compelling storyline. It becomes a story about Mrs. Wilson's grief at being separated from her baby and about her undying sacrificial love for him. If you love mysteries as much as I love mysteries, you're going to want to click that red subscribe button and ring the bell for notifications. Next week, I'm going to be talking about my favorite kind of mystery, the cozy mystery. It's what I write and it's what I love, and I have a lot of great practical tips to help you structure yours. Check out.